welcome back to my channel. Today I am going over all of the wrap up for the last couple of days as well as my final wrap up for the entire reset. So I finished day 21, I'm officially done. I'm now in that transition week where I'm starting to incorporate some more foods back into my diet. So one of the biggest things that I really have started doing is getting my shakes back and starting my workouts again. So when you're doing the reset, they really don't want you doing strenuous workout, like a lot of cardio, a lot of strength training, because you're doing a lot within your body. They don't want you to overdo it and then risk an injury or risk making yourself sick. So I have started a beginner program again so that I can ease myself back into it and build back up to where I was. Started doing my morning shakes, and I'm using that to hold me accountable. I'm uploading my shake every morning to my Instagram to hold me accountable for actually doing it and continuing to build the good habits. So finished everything up. Really wasn't too much that I was expecting. Was feeling good, wasn't feeling bloated, sleeping really well, drinking a ton of water. So I'm still drinking water. That was something that I wanted to continue doing throughout my continuation of my health journey, and just keep doing that and keep bettering myself. So that was something I wanted to keep doing, and I am continuing to do. One thing that I kind of noticed is I did miss my morning shakes. So typically in the mornings, I'll wake up, make my husband and I a shake. We like to put fruit and greens and collagen in with our powder and almond milk. I really missed that over the last couple of days. I found that I did. The other thing that I'm starting to incorporate a little bit of is some iced coffee. So I have my iced coffee in my Penguins cup today. Not a lot, with just a touch of sweet cream just to take kind of like the bitter edge off. I had not had coffee for 3 weeks, so whenever I got it today and I took my first sip, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so strong. So I did that just to cut the strength a little bit. But I really watered it down with some ice, again, because since I had not had coffee for so long, I didn't want to, throw myself into a caffeine craze and be the Energizer Bunny jumping off the walls. So wanted to talk about some of my favorite recipes, some tips that I figured out while doing this, as well as, again, my final thoughts. So throughout the 3 weeks, I actually lost a grand total of 13 pounds, which I'm really excited about. I didn't think that I would actually lose that much, but there were some shorts that fit me last summer because of winter, and because with the move, I really slacked off with, we were ordering pizza and we were ordering food, and obviously not making healthy choices because of life situations. But when we moved then to Texas, the shorts weren't fitting me as much as I wanted them to. They were a little bit snug. So over these last couple of weeks, I really got back into those shorts. And so my goal is obviously keeping them and not have to get new ones. And if I do have to get new ones, go down a size instead of up. Again, that's just a personal goal for me. If a goal for you is to maintain or to just build a habit, that's completely okay as well. For me, it was really kickstart the restart of my fitness and restart of just making sure that I'm being as healthy as I possibly can. So I did that. Got into some new shorts, definitely felt better with drinking all of the water, so I'm going to continue, like I said, doing that as well. The other thing that I'm going to be a lot more mindful of is just what I am eating. Doing this at first, it was really kind of a shock to my system because we like chips in our family, and I wasn't buying them and I wasn't eating them for myself. So kind of was an eye-opening thing for me, because I really learned during this trip I'm an emotional eater and I eat when I'm bored. So I actually got a little kind of daily to-do planner tablet. So every week I sit and I write things that I want to do during the week. So I'm intentionally making sure that I'm doing things so that I don't get bored. I'm making sure my Kindle is charged up, so if I don't want to actually do something, I have books that I want to read, and that things that'll keep my brain going. So recognizing that that's where a lot of that snacking was coming from. It was also coming from the stress of, moving from Pennsylvania to Texas. Now that we're pretty much settled, though, that's, that kind of a stress is dissipating a lot for me. So those are some of the things that I really learned about myself during this journey. So be mindful about snacking. I now have some like carrot sticks and red peppers that are sliced up so that if I do get munchy and I do get snacky, I have those with salsa or hummus as an alternate to, a chip. So that's my kind of end results. The takeaway that I had with this whole entire process, a little complicated. So it was a love-hate relationship, to be perfectly honest with this process. The first 2 weeks were a lot tougher for me than I thought that they would be because I was missing snacks. I was missing the junk food, coffee, cheese, chocolate, all of those things that really aren't the greatest for your body, and a lot of times we overdo it. So for example, with coffee, I was drinking 4 cups of coffee a day before starting this. I had the caffeine headache for a day, and looking back, that was way too much caffeine for my system. I don't need that much caffeine. I can get good energy from a good workout, from eating nutrient-dense foods. I don't need caffeine to keep me going. So learned that lesson. I learned that, a lot of times, again, I'm eating and I'm not even realizing that I'm eating. So maybe I'm watching TV, or maybe I'm just sitting there doing nothing and scrolling on social media, not having those things actively there and actively present. So like not having the chips sitting beside me, for example, so that I eat all of them. The other thing that I've just learning is I wasn't drinking enough water beforehand, which is probably why I was getting some stress headaches before, and needing to drink the water, as well as being intentional about what I'm doing. So yes, right now I don't have a full-time job since we did move, and I'm actively looking, but when I'm not working, what am I doing? Am I sitting doing nothing, or am I actively doing something around the house, or actively pursuing something that I like to do? So being more mindful of that, again, which is why I have the notepad to write everything down. So some tips that I would highly, highly suggest is in the book, they will give you meal prep suggestions. So this is, for example, week number 2. Yeah, the week release week. So they'll actually give you prep tips. What I would suggest doing, and I learned this on week 2 and started incorporating 2 and 3 and made it a lot easier, is to double prep some things. So for example, weeks 2 and 3 had some of the stir fries. I would make double the stir fry or double the amount of soup, for example. This is because sometimes you are going to repeat a meal and have, a second edition of it, second serving, second helping, whatever you want to call it. But it's also helpful because if there's, for example, the Mediterranean roasted beets were just a flat out no-go for me. Was not eating them, will not eat them. I don't like beets. So what I did instead was I had the second, like the double recipe of the veggies, and I had that ready to go for whenever it was a meal I really didn't want and I would not eat. I had an alternate. that was within the plan and within the meal plan, and that really took the temptation to just get like chicken nuggets out of the freezer. That helped with that. Another tip would be getting a water bottle that either has the ounces or has the time on the side. So I've shown you guys my water bottle. It has both on them, and having that immensely helps you keep track of how much you're drinking, how much you need to drink, and doing all of that. Another tip that I found helpful was, so you do drink the mineralized water, that you add the minerals to. What I would do is, so my water bottle is a 32-ounce water bottle. the pitcher that I have is 64 ounces, and I had to drink, I think, 128 ounces of water a day. Yes. So what I would do then is I would fill the pitcher of water with 64 ounces, add the full amount of, I think it's like a quarter of a teaspoon of the minerals, and then my water bottle that's 32 ounces, I would fill that halfway and then fill it the rest of the way from the, my fridge. I couldn't think of the word for a second, my fridge. So what I would do is throughout the day, that's how I would do it. So the water in the pitcher has the double strength of salt, or of minerals. I'm pretty sure it's basically salt. But my thinking and the way that I would process it is, okay, I drink 16 ounces at a time out of the pitcher, and the pitcher is the full amount that I need to drink during the day. So essentially I needed to drink double of what the pitcher was, but that helped me with having the water bottle. So water bottle halfway, fill it from my fridge the rest of the way, and do that until the pitcher was empty. That really helped me remember, okay, how many more bottles do I need? How many more ounces? So what that did though was that kind of simplified it. So I knew I had to do like 1 full pitcher of the mineralized water a day, with the rest filled up from my water bottle. I'll write it out down below so that it makes a little bit more sense if it's hard to picture it. Another tip was the air fryer. So many things either needed like roasted or sauteed and all of those. And I'm not a huge fan of sauteing. I don't like how messy it gets sometimes. So what we actually did was I would throw the veggies into the air fryer, throw the seasoning on them, and then let them go in the air fryer. The flavor they had was amazing. So if you do have an air fryer and you want to go through this reset, I completely and 110% recommend using the air fryer for a lot of the veggies. You'll be surprised at how they come out and how much you can use. The other thing is, go easy on yourself. So I went into this thinking, oh, I'll just do all these things and I have my to-do list and I can just keep going. I couldn't. There were days where I was in bed by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. There were some weekends where I wanted to take a nap. Like, go easy on yourself and let your body do this, because your body is kind of refreshing itself. So, lastly, some of my favorite recipes. So I actually post-it noted them in the book. And these were the recipes that really stood out to me that I'm going to be incorporating essentially from here on out. So the first one is the vegetable miso soup. The only thing I think that I might do different is I may add in either some shrimp or some chicken in the future. The veggies are phenomenal. It's really like a chicken noodle soup, but a little bit more of that comfort. That's really the only way I can think of to describe it, is it felt like it had more comfort to it. So again, I would add some chicken or some shrimp in the future, but it was phenomenal. The flavor is so good as it is. So then the next one that is the stir fry. Now this is the picture. Obviously they use the wok. This one I would actually stir fry, and I mean, I would not air fry it. It kind of makes it hard. One thing that I did add into it was some onion. And so you have carrots, broccoli, red pepper, and zucchini, and then I would always add some onion into it. And the sesame oil mixed with the liquid aminos really almost gives it like that takeout flavor and takeout vibe without all of the sugar and additives that I'm sure is in regular takeout. So that was a favorite go-to of mine when I was craving junk food, or whenever I was craving like something that, you know, I think at one point I told my husband, like, I want something that's just not good for me. So this satisfied that though, because it tastes like takeout. And then the last one that I'm going to be adding into my regular rotation, this is the sweet potato bisque. So it had sweet potatoes, bell peppers, olive oil, a little bit of miso paste, and veggie broth. So This is one where the recipe originally suggested to boil the sweet potato. I air fry roasted the sweet potato and the red pepper. So I was able to make a roasted red pepper in my air fryer, and then I would chunk up into like about 1-inch square chunks, cubes, my sweet potato, and I would roast that in the air fryer as well. And then I used my Ninja food processor to blend it all up and just make it the bisque. So good. So that one actually almost felt like an alternate to tomato soup. If you ever want like grilled cheese and tomato soup but don't want the tomato soup or not feeling tomato that day, the sweet potato with a grilled cheese would be phenomenal. So that's one that I'm going to be keeping in my regular rotation and my recipe book, so that if we ever want to do something different with grilled cheese, we have that as an option. All of the rest of the recipes, they were good. Don't get me wrong, they were good. However, I wouldn't necessarily say that they would be ones that I would want to keep permanently. They're good, but they weren't that phenomenal that I, make sure to save them. There were a couple I absolutely did not like. Beets, there was some kale, there was a roasted squash, there was a zucchini soup. And again, you may like that, but I'm not a fan of the flavor of beets, kale, or cashews. And cashews were in that zucchini soup. So if you do it, give it a shot, try it out, see what happens. You never know, you might like it, just not my personal flavor. So the other thing that I wanted to show you guys, which I thought was an incredible help, and so whenever you buy the reset, you get everything you need in the box and in the guide, but you'll also get access to be able to download and print a lot of the stuff from online. So I don't have the printouts anymore because I wrote all over them and then threw them away, but you actually get the full shopping list for each week, which again makes everything so incredibly helpful because it tells you the amount that you need and how much, what kind, all of that. So I actually printed that from the website, and then as I was going through the grocery store, I was writing it off. I didn't just rip it out of here because I'm one of those people that I don't like just ripping pages out of my books. I'm weird. It's okay. I know it. So, but I would suggest, when you do that, the shopping list is a lifesaver. Print it out, take it with you, write it down, because then you're not trying to remember, trying to look at it on your phone, or trying to write it down whenever it is readily accessible for you. So that is everything with the reset. Now, one thing they do recommend is they recommend you don't do it more than once every 3 months. I would probably even go as far as saying I may do this once a year. I don't necessarily feel like I need to do it more frequently. Now, if I had a horrendous diet, maybe. But again, part of why this is 21 days is it takes 21 days to form a habit. So what you're doing is you're creating the good habits, breaking the bad habits, and then you're building on that. So if you do that, then doing it once a year just as kind of like a refresh isn't horrible. If you don't want to do the 21-day reset, they also have the 3-day refresh. So that's something you can do of like if you have an event coming up, or you just need a refresher course. It's similar to this, but it's slightly different. So I may do that like every 6 months and then do this once a year. I'm gonna kind of feel it out. So again, I'm slowly incorporating these things back into my diet. Some things aren't even coming into my diet. Like I'm really not going to eat chips anymore. I can't say no to coffee. I can't say no to the glass of wine every now and again, which is okay. But again, moderation. So next I am starting a 3-week workout program. I'm going back to my containers that I've always loved doing. So when you're an emotional eater, sometimes you eat and you don't even realize it, and having the containers are really, really helpful. So they're color coded. They basically tell you, give you an amount of what to eat. So like veggies are a cup at a time, because then you can eat everything in a bag and not feel bad about it. So for me, that helps me really deal with the emotional eating. So if you guys are interested more in how I deal with the emotional eating and how I stop all of that, let me know and I can always make a video about that. But if you're interested in doing your own reset or you want more information, let me know. I'm more than happy to get that for you. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in my next video. See ya.